Welcome to my softball pitching video. Throughout this video, I'll be documenting my progression of my pitching. Throughout this video, I'll also be showing my initial succession through pitching and the techniques I used in order to progress my skills and hopefully be able to make 5 out of 10 eventual pitches. During the first pitching session, it can be seen from my tracking sheet that only 3 from 10 pitches had been made and landed inside the hula hoop. My result of 3 out of 10 pitches, or 30% success, demonstrated that my pitching ability was decent, but there was much room for improvement. From this, I set myself a goal of being able to make 5 from 10 of these pitches by the end of the unit, or otherwise a 20% increase in my pitching success. My tracking sheet demonstrates the recurring random pattern of my pitches, as some of my pitches deviated horizontally from the target, whilst others deviated vertically, indicating that my pitching technique was not constant and needed to be more consistent. This random trend indicated to me that I needed to find ways to control the power of my shots, as well as the directions of my pitches, to allow them to land closer to the hoop. Upon looking at my initial pitching technique, it can be seen that I correctly released the ball at around a 45-degree angle, allowing for proper arc in the ball's trajectory and insurance in a legal pitch. Aside from this, however, multiple flaws can be seen with my form, such as the lack of a lunge before releasing the ball, which aids in the control of the pitch's power, as well as not locking out the arm at around 90 to 100 degrees, which helps to control the direction of the ball at a consistent rate each time. According to softball expert Jill Weiss and her pitching technique, it can be seen that both these techniques play major roles in the success of one's pitching. During my initial pitching test, it could be seen that I released the ball correctly at 45 degrees each time, meaning that the arc and height of my pitches were always at a consistent, appropriate standard. Due to this, I decided to focus on improving the other two aspects of pitching which my form lacked: the lunge and the locking of my arm. As previously mentioned, adding a lunge before the pitch allows for further control and consistency in the power of the pitch, and due to the fact that it can be seen that many of my pitches tend to be thrown with variant power, I decided that in order to help me improve my pitching, I needed to focus on and incorporate a lunge into my pitching technique. Furthermore, I realized that I needed to consistently lock my arm out at the 90 to 100 degree mark in order to consistently control the direction of my pitches, to ensure that they will consistently land on the plate. Finally, in order to further aid the control and direction of my pitches, I decided I needed to begin locking my hips in line with the plate when pitching to ensure that all pitches would not deviate from the home plate and allow me further pitching success. After considering all these factors which I needed to improve on, as well as my initial pitching score of 3 out of 10 or 30%, I decided that a reasonable target for improvement was 5 out of 10. In the following weeks, these aspects of my pitching were focused on and improved up until the last day of my second pitching session, where I tracked my progression through 10 pitches. In this session, I was able to hit my target of 5 out of 10 pitches, meaning that my pitching success increased by 20%, from 30% to 50% success. This meant that on average, I was able to make 1 out of 2 pitches into my target. From this, I was indicated that my improvements were very effective and played a very large role in my progression. Finally, I tested my pitching ability and ultimate progression by pitching in an in-game situation. As shown on screen, I pitched during 2 different games and my success was varied to a great extent. During the first game, my pitches were quite awful, as 8 of my 9 pitches were balls, with the other pitch being easily hit by the batter. Contrastingly, during my second game, my pitches were extremely accurate, as I was able to strike out 2 of the 3 batters, with the other batter being forced into an awkward shot which resulted in her solely reaching first base. Upon further reflection, I realized the great effect posed by the game pressure, which I evidently needed to get used to before performing well. As demonstrated by my varying results, there is a major difference between pitching with a partner for fun and having to pitch in a competitive game. This factor was not considered during my training and progression, and resulting in me performing poorly at first in the game. I believe that if this factor was considered and I practiced pitching in multiple game scenarios, my pitches in-game would have been much more successful, consistent, and accurate, as I would have had more practice playing with pressure. Multiple limitations can be seen through this progression log, which may alter the validity and accuracy of the extent to my progression, such as the loss of footage as well as the time and circumstance of video recording. Due to the fact that my phone broke and the footage was lost, I needed to record my second pitching session again, which may have demonstrated a false interpretation of my progression, as I recorded this 1 week ahead of the proposed recording date where my footage corrupted. This allowed me to practice my pitching before recording the new replacement footage, which may have possibly resulted in unfair results and doubt to the extent of my progression.